Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the weekly review special for week 18 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week I brought in 2,165 points, small drop from last week, but considering a couple new games being around, that's not bad at all. But the best round score is still more than double that, and now 10 weeks ago since we scored the 46-48. Current virtual best at 2,902, drop of near 400 points. Again, though, new game is the reason for that. All-time virtual best remains unchanged for, I think, about the third week in a row. So that does suck a little bit, but we recycled almost all of our series in the last 8 to 10 weeks or so. So only a couple of them really anymore are in that higher scoring category. Break down the games individually. PCM 19, the career mode, one of those two, is on the verge of increasing its score. It's already 5th place on the all-time virtual best, and I have a feeling that it'll crack the top 4 in the next week or 2 weeks at most. In the Stage Racer series, that's the one that holds that number 1 spot, and those are the two that I was talking about that have been around a long time. Lots and lots of episodes for those. We're, topping 90 plus now. It's already cracked 1,000. New season. We're only... How many races are we in now? 5? 6? It's been a long week with the new series coming out and all the recording of those episodes. It's been a little while. Perfect record, though, so far. We've won GC in every race we've been in, and we've won most of the stages that suited our style. So we already have 478 points, and it's still very early in the season, which is insane that we're already halfway towards 1,000. FM20 Zero to Hero. I love that series so much. I enjoy it so much, but it's now going to be my FM21 series from the get-go. So I am replacing my original FM20 series, my original FM series that has gone from 18, 19, now 20, and we are transferring to a Zero to Hero series. But that does mean that this one, done. I've called it quits. Viewership is down. New series are coming out. More new games are coming in the very, very near future. Just had to cut the chaff and make some space. And so it's been sacrificed. Final score was 317. Another title just barely won. Penultimate day of the season. We clinched it. It was enough. It was good. It's still not a fantastic total. But we are going to start the next series. Instead of tier 10 all the way, way down the list, we are going to start from that 6th tier so we can catch it day 1 with that series. I'll just have to go in and edit and set that up. Out of the Park 21, 111 points, mid-season now. Will we surpass last season? I don't know. Bannerlord also retired very suddenly. Final tally is 120 points there. And for that one, I talked about it in the series in the final episode, and I'll just briefly mention it here. But I had enough of it. It's a good game. It is not a bad game. It is definitely a good game. But 10 years on from the original Mount & Blade, it's the same game. There are a couple updates to the original game. In fact, the updates feel smaller than the DLC content that came out in the years following the original Mount & Blade. In terms of what's different between the original content and where we're at right now. They improved sieges, improved the UX. Okay. It's identical otherwise. And 10 years ago, it was an amazing game. tech's gone a long ways in 10 years. Now it's just like, oh, I'm doing this again. Yeah, I remember playing this 10 years ago, 8 years ago, even 6 years ago. Gosh, I even picked it up, 3 or 4 years ago for a little bit. Played it for a handful of hours before I got bored, 8 to 10 even. But it got boring real fast because it's still the same game. So that for me was the game that it's been number one on my wish list for like 4 years, 3.5 years. I was so ready for it, so eager for it. It took them forever to release the same game that they already made 10 years ago with a couple small updates. I mean, you could have a tiny, tiny little developer, single person working by themselves could do more than that in 10 years. What the heck were they doing over there? I'm so frustrated by that. So disappointed. In Sandy Bay, that one is going to come to an end soon. It's going to be replaced by Bucks County. I missed out on the initial release, and I'm really disappointed that I did. I have high hopes for Farm Sim. I really want it to be a staple on the channel. I need to establish views with Farm Sim for that to happen. The episodes take way too long to produce for what I'm getting out of it right now. I love Sandy Bay as a map. It's my all-time favorite. But it's complicated. There's a lot going on. And it creates a lot of lag in multiplayer. And I'm playing it with my dad. So he and I are going to move on to Bucks County probably next week. Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 20. Late season, 129 points. We're in a really strong position. But will we stay there? I don't know. FS19, Last Frontier series. This one might go on a little bit longer, but I am going to replace it as well. Same reason. I really need to try to establish Farm Sim as a staple, and I'm going to have to just kind of recycle maps a little bit. I like Last Frontier. I'm really enjoying it. And it's a series that I, especially as doing single player, it's got a good flow to it. It's got a good feel to it, and I'm making quality progress. So I enjoy it. I'd like to keep it going. It could be a long series, but it just doesn't have the views to be a long series. Otherwise, I would absolutely make it a staple, long-term, twice a week kind of series. But its days are numbered as well. PCM 19, the new one, Women's Tour, we completed our first season with a whopping point total of 30. Tubes of Super Prestige, that's 300. So 300 is not bad, but it is. I mean, you could see my other PCM series. They massively outscore this one. So 30 is just about the lowest total I think I've ever had. No. Sorry, it's not just about. It is by far the lowest total I've ever had in a series. I think I had the PCM 18 career. Had a similar setup for it in terms of it being a bottom tier, low level continental group. But unlike this PCM 19 one, I started with better writers. That time I started with bad writers. They were still better than the writers I started with this time. I think we finished that first season on about 66 points. So, pretty big gap. Looking forward to Season 2. And then our other new series is SnowRunner. So we had Gears Tactics and SnowRunner both starting this week. Gears Tactics not in the scoreline yet, and I'm still not quite sure how to score it. I've kind of picked my 3 main categories. I don't know how many missions there are, so it's hard to assign points just yet. Hopefully I'll know that by next week, because Bannerlord, with that being retired, Gears Tactics should be into the scoreline. And then SnowRunner, I do know how to score, and maybe I'll put up a scoring screen here and film that as well. But maps, Vehicles are the main components to that. And then the balance. So that's the three categories there. So maps, vehicles, and your overall balance. We want to get rich. We're far, far away from that. So we have 0 points from balance. It's all down to vehicles and maps. I have 4 vehicles, 10 points each. 2 maps unlocked, 20 points each. Each map is worth 20 points. Each vehicle worth 10. There's about 40 right now. And then the last of the points, that's the bulk. That'll get us to about 800. The last couple hundred points are going to come down to earning loads of cash. That's going to do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. No change on the all-time virtual best other than 0 to Hero, moving up 4 spots from 30th to 26th, but still way off the list and going to be retiring. So that means the next one on the outside looking in is over 400 points away from making the list, meaning I've got a lot of work to do to get anything other than the 2 series that are already in there, anything else in there. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye for now.